Paratopic is surreal. It's by far the weirdest and most unique experience I have had in any game I have ever played. In fact, I find it hard to describe the vibe that the game has going for it. It is a walking simulator, but what's with the weird and creepy look of the game and distorted audio effects? What is this? The devs describe it as an atmospheric retro 3D horror adventure through a cursed fever dream, and that's pretty accurate. We experience this game from the point of view of three characters: a smuggler trying to smuggle illegal VHS tapes, a bird watcher who comes across some interesting sights, and an assassin preparing for a kill. I have a pretty bad comparison for it: Silent Hill Pulp Fiction. It's bad because it's very shallow, but I couldn't get it out of my head. It's horror and it has a PS1 era art style mixed with some timeline and character jumping that reminded me of Pulp Fiction. This is only skin deep though. Paratopic is very much its own thing. How does it feel? Paratopics feels like a rejected version of a reality that we live in. Like something during its formation didn't quite go as it was supposed to. So what we are left with is a grey market version of reality. The visuals in Paratopic is the first thing that would catch anyone's eyes. The game looks like a PS1 game. The lack of polygons and most importantly the wobbly unstable textures, which is a hallmark of any PS1 game. The game itself takes place in environments that you have seen before: a gas station, a dingy diner, a forest. Some of the sites even look visually cool due to the effects and lighting, working pretty well even with these textures. The world looks familiar but decayed. Then there is the various sounds of the game. The voices are distorted, but you can almost make out what they're saying. But it's off. Like if you're listening to the radio in your car and pay attention to it, it sounds like you aren't.
Rally. It's the cane teller and the
It's a surreal feeling where you get some words thrown in, but nothing about what is said. The music here is also some great stuff. Much of it is sharp ambient noises. But there are actual cracks too. The visuals and sound mix together to form an atmosphere of uneasiness as every part of the game. Like, I got the door open, but should I really go down there? So, how does it play? It's a walking simulator. So, surprisingly, the main thing you do in this game is walk and wait. You do a series of stuff like driving a car or talking to people, but it's all extremely linear. There is some stuff you can interact with, but overall you don't have much control in what you can or can't do here. The conversations in this game are weird to follow. Everyone knows what they're talking about except you. Not the player character, but you yourself. The conversations, however little there is, feels well written. Something about talking to a weird guy in a gas station in the middle of nowhere just feels close to home. Then there is another part of the game, the driving, a part of the game that I genuinely don't like. There are like a total of 10 minutes of driving in this game, which doesn't sound like much, but considering the game is only 45 minutes long, it really adds up. I wouldn't have minded if it was an active process. There are some things to see in the driving sections, but that could have been achieved in like 3 minutes. You can also say that it's good for building tension, but the walking parts already do that, and they do that really well too. The game cuts between three different characters, a birdwatcher, an assassin, and a smuggler, and you have to randomly cut between these characters. Each of these characters have a different goal and you have to follow them to complete the story. So, what does it all mean? Let me start by being honest. I have not figured out Paratopic yet. Not by a long shot. I understand far more than I did my first time through the game, but there is still stuff to dig around. But I will just talk about what I did understand. I'm gonna put a big fat spoiler warning right here. Because in case of a game like this, I don't know what does or does not count as a spoiler. Skip to the timestamp on screen if you wish to go in blind. So, you're carrying tapes across the border. These tapes are special. You're told not to watch them, and they say that they will know if you do watch them. The tapes have weird effects on people. On your neighbor, this happens. And not only that, she has seen the tapes at least once before, so they're probably addictive as well. I don't know why you are smuggling them across the border, but you are caught and the tapes are confiscated. You try and prevent the border officer from watching, but he does that regardless. And then this happens. So, what are the tapes? They seem to be made by the power company. As the smuggler learns, there was a disaster at the power company 14 years ago. And the birdwatcher comes across the underground bunker, but the power company says they want to do something revolutionary. And we all know what happens when a big corporation tries to do something revolutionary in any media like this. I think the decayed nature of the world is due to the company's experiment, and the tapes are something that was created during this, along with this being who follows the smuggler and kills the birdwatcher. The assassin who kills the man behind the dinner who owns a lot of tapes watches one of these tapes too. We don't see what happens to her after that. And that's about all I have figured out. So in conclusion, Paratopic is an experience I have never experienced before in any form or other. It sticks with you even after finishing it. I have probably thought about it longer than I have actually played the game. If there's one word to describe Paratopic, the word is intriguing. I enjoyed this game a lot, even though it's not the kind of game I usually play. It's due to the fact that this game, however short it is extremely tightly and well designed. The game is short, however. Even with multiple replays like mine, it is just 2 or 3 hours long. I wouldn't suggest buying this game on full price unless you're very intrigued by it. I would suggest getting it in a sale instead. The devs over at Arbitrary Metric are making an immersive sim next. I don't know much about that project, but I am excited to see what they make next.